Good morning. Hey everybody, Laura here. Woo. I am figuring out the little details of getting set up here, but I am in my backyard. I'm going to flip the camera already. Let me do that so I can walk around with you. Let's see. There we go. All right. Yeah, Laura Noel here. I'm coming from you live from my backyard. I'm going to step out and show you what I've set up here today. I full on set up my pop-up tent that I do for shows. And I have populated it with all kinds of goodies from what I call my art shed. This is my art shed. This is a little like 10 by 10 that came with the property when I bought it. And it is where I store all my show stuff. Don't judge me. I used to be a professional organizer. This does not reflect my skills in organizing. Dun, dun, dun. This is where I store things when I'm not at shows. It has pieces in progress. It has blank canvas. It has show hardware and doodads and all kinds of stuff. And because we've been trying to get ready for this move, it also has a bunch of like paperwork and all that. Anyway, it's too full. So that is why I'm doing a little clearance sale today. As we get into this home stretch of 2025. So I'm just going to start talking about some of this stuff, huh? We'll start in this little corner over here. This is a series of pieces I did in 2022. So I started doing shows full-time in 2021, and in 2022 I did this project through the Kickstarter platform called Make 100. And the goal of that project was to pick any theme and make 100 of it. 100 paintings, 100 cards, 100 doodads, 100 ceramics, whatever your thing. And so that year I chose mushrooms because I was still pretty new to living on the Oregon coast and getting into mushroom foraging and hunting and really enjoying it. And so I decided I was going to do 100 mushroom paintings. So these are some of the paintings that I still have left from that series. I'll just kind of roll through and talk about them. They're all 8 by 10 acrylic on canvas. I'll have their little hardware on the back, ready to go. I'm getting a notification that I have a slow connection. I don't know why. I'm plugged into my things. I'm going to turn Bluetooth off to make sure if that helps out the connection a little bit. Oh, that actually dropped my connection a little. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so these are all 8 by 10 acrylic on canvas pieces. As you can see, they're like, part of how you can tell they're my older work is that they're way more abstract than some of the stuff I'm doing now. Before I moved to Oregon, I did almost a decade of nothing but abstract, like really wild colors and lots of abstract expressionism. And so I was still kind of feeling out how I was bridging the gap between those abstract pieces and the more representational stuff. So I did this series of mushrooms for that project, and it was really fun. I was getting really into foraging when I moved here. That was awesome. But yeah, as you see, I still have quite a few of those pieces from that particular series. And so these are all on sale. I got morels, blue oyster mushrooms, got parrot mushrooms. If you're seeing any of these and you're like, oh my god, I want those at this crazy reduced price, just comment, let me know. If you're just joining me, I am doing a live art sale, clearance sale for my backyard today. Just showing off some pieces that have been living in my art shed that need to find a fun new home. I'm going to run over to where I actually have it written down what I was going to charge for these. Silly girl. Let's see, consulting the list. So, oh, did I write this down? Okay, 25 on any of these, that's what I'm saying. When I did them through the project, they were $75, $25, any of these, straight to your house. Cool. I'm going to talk some more mushrooms since we're in the mushroom mode. Also from that Kickstarter project, I have all these little guys I was doing. I always thought these were really fun. They're a little 4x4 stretch canvas. As you can see, they just sit straight on any table. They can hang on the wall. But I stopped doing this size because when I have them at shows, inevitably, somebody would look at them and say, "Ooh, a box!" And then they'd flip it over and be really disappointed. And I am bummed when people are disappointed when they touch my art versus excited and elated. So I stopped making things that were on these big fat stretch canvas because I think they're awesome, they're fun, but way too much disappointment that they weren't some box functional useful item. So those gotta go. These were from that same Kickstarter series. I'm doing 10 on any of these. My driftwood piece here is 15. That was just a one-off, like, experimenting on different mediums. I did a lot of that when I was first starting. Cool, cool. I'm going to show you this other section, which is the same deal. Little boxy abstracts. Love the box. Super fun to work on. It's fun to paint along those edges. I think they're fun little sit on the desk pieces, but same problem. People would pick them up and be like, it's not a box, I can't use it. So they didn't know what to do with it. I'm doing 10 on any of these. These bigger ones are 15. Same deal, just really fat canvas. This was a one-off from a series I did in like 2011. That's a little piece on wood I did. Also 15. If you're watching along and if there's something particular you want to see, you just let me know. I'm just going to keep kind of rolling around through the different things I have and what's going on. I'll give you a closer look at the earrings. So, earrings are another one of those products that when I was first getting out, I was trying everything. You gotta try everything before you find out what your thing is. So, I was doing these hand-painted earrings, and actually going back to the Kickstarter, hand-painted earrings was the first project I ever did with Kickstarter. So way back when I was a baby getting used to doing full-time art shows artist, my first Kickstarter was make 100 hand-painted earrings. So I got these wooden blanks off Etsy, and they were just like laser cut wood, birch wood. And I was painting them and using my paint pens to get the detail, and then I'd finish it off. These are all stainless steel findings, so hypoallergenic, good stuff. And I had a lot of fun with that, and I continued doing earrings for the first couple years of my shows, but again, it's one of those things that, like, they're really fun to do, but in the time that it takes me to make all these little guys, I could be focusing on a big painting instead. And that big painting I can then turn into cards and prints and stickers, and it's an asset that I get to keep using in my business perpetually, versus when I do one-off things like this, I put that energy in and then it's gone. And then I have to put more energy in and it's gone. And I was finding that the energy, I lost the joy that I had in making these. I had a lot of fun when I first made them, but I feel like I've kind of grown past that, so that's why these are going too. So I have a selection of kind of like holiday ones here, and then these, what I call my rounds. These were all acrylic on wood, little circles. So any of these used to be 15, they're 7. These big guys, both the circle ones and the teardrop ones, I used to do for 20. I am closing them out at 10 today, $10 any pair. With everything I'm showing today, the deal is free shipping on any combined order over 25. And just, whatever the shipping is on things under than 25. So if all you want is a $10 pair of earrings, I do have to charge shipping because that keeps going up. But over 25, like if you want 2 pairs of earrings, 3 pairs of earrings, whatever, free shipping over $25. So those are the earrings. There's a couple other random one-off products that I tried. I was painting, especially that first year I was doing art full-time, I was painting on anything that wasn't nailed down. So this is another thing where I got these little door hangers on wood blanks, I think from the dollar store, maybe Etsy, I'm not sure, I don't remember. And I was painting them, and, you know, then I'd seal them with some top coat and call it a day. They were fun, but same problem. I do them and then they're gone, and it takes a lot of energy to do one-off products like that. So these door hangers I was doing, well, as you see, they're still labeled $5, or oh, actually on my email I sent out to everybody, I said these are straight up free. If you want one, comment me. You got to pay the shipping, or if you buy something else, I'll throw one in for free. I'm just ready to let them go. I'd rather see somebody enjoy them than have them sit in my art shed in perpetuity. So, that's free. I'm not even going to say the name of what this is. If you know, you know. But, this little thing, which I was doing for a while, let me see if I can get it open. I was painting on these objects for a while, and it got my entire business page removed. Because apparently the item that this is painted on is a trademark term. And I didn't know that. I was new. I was a baby. I tried to write an ad saying that, oh, look, I hand painted these objects, and I got shut down. No kind of appeal, nothing. It was just gone. My first iteration of my business page, which I had had for, I don't know, 10, 15 years, was gone. No appeal, no nothing. So this is a cursed product that I will never make again. But same deal. If you want it, I will throw it in with any order. If you claim it, it's yours. I'm going to leave that there. Little rock. Most of these shells are in that same category. This was another thing I tried out living on the coast here in Bandon. Shells are so abundant, and it was really fun to go on little hikes with my sweetheart and find different shells that I could paint on. And I did. These were acrylic and paint pens, just making fun little easy ones that I could sell at the farmer's market. And I did sell quite a few of them at the farmer's market, but they're hard to transport, especially I'm pretty rough with my stuff, so I was having breakage, I was having concerns with that. They're awkward sizes, they're not easy to carry around with me, but they were fun. Any of these, also free with any other order you want to place, or if you want to pay the shipping, I'll send one of these to you for free. Get them somewhere where they want to live and not just living in my art shed perpetually. This one I am selling. This was one I put quite a bit more detail into. She's one of my mermaids. I thought that was a fun idea, doing mermaids and seashells. Same thing though, it's hard to carry around to my shows. There's breakage, all that jazz. She's 15 today. She used to be 30 or 35. 15. Another little experiment. Coasters. These were bits of wood that I had painted on, and then I actually pulled out the resin to get that shiny on top. And what I learned about that is that do not underestimate the people who know how to use resin properly, because I originally made like 24 of these hand-painted pieces of wood, and I very enthusiastically resined the top coat on all of them and ruined about half of that 24 straight out the gate. Like really ruined. Horrible bubbling, like just inconsistencies, awfulness. What I learned about that is that resin is an art form, and I had no patience or desire to further learn that art form. So these were one-offs that I tried, and that I no longer do. Little resin art coasters. I would not put any hot drinks on them. They probably would be fine for cold drinks, but they're really decorative. I used to do those for, I don't know, 10 or, no, I used to do those for 20 for sure. Anyway, $5, any of those. Get them somewhere they want to live, where they're happy. Okay, we're just going to move straight along over here. This category is not very big because I've already sold a lot of these, including the email that I sent out in anticipation of this sale. I sold a couple of these straight away from that email. If you're joining me and you're not on that email list, let me know if you want to be on it, and then you get first crack at future sales and future new art that I make. These were all from my 2023 Kickstarter Make 100 project. These are what I called my layered art series. So these were, the base layer is a 1/4-inch piece of wood round, and then the layers are made from other birch wood that I cut using a scroll saw. So I was manually cutting out these shapes and then manually painting them and then gluing the whole thing together. It's got like E6000 or wood glue or something. It's pretty darn strong. So these were a really fun experiment that I was doing for that project. And they were really enjoyable, but I kind of hit my wall of interest in the scroll saw. It's another one of those, like, choose your own adventure. Do you want to keep doing this kind of labor-intensive thing, or do you want to stick to painting where I can, paint something once and then make a bunch of stickers and prints and cards of it? I will say, actually, though, so you might recognize the cutout ones, these free-form florals, I call them, because I used these to make my most popular, like, floral sticker set. I have these big floral stickers in this shape that people call my lotus series. They're not lotuses. I mean, they were supposed to be echeverias, which is a type of succulent, but a lot of people see lotuses in them, and I fully accept that. So I sell a lot of the lotus stickers that I made from this original series. So there are good things that came out of doing this, and gosh, it was really fun to get to know the scroll saw and learn a different tool, and that was great. But I'm done with that. I'm not doing that again for now. Maybe one of these days I'll make good friends with somebody who does laser cutting, and they can cut out all these tedious pieces for me. But I straight up gave away my scroll saw as we were getting ready for this move to Hawaii. So buy a scroll saw. These little guys I'm doing for $15 today. The big guys were $75. They're $37 now. Oh, no, that's not right. Sorry. This one was $75. It's $37 now. These guys were $45, I think. Let me look at my notes. Notes. Da, 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 da. I don't know. Make me an offer. I don't really care. I'd rather have them somewhere they're happy. They were $45 at one point. Make me an offer. I'll send them to you. Okay. Moving right along. Oh, I almost missed this guy. So this one is called Blue Skies Beyond. This is actually a pretty recent one. It's last year, 2024. I did this for one of our gallery shows when I was part of Art by the Sea Gallery. It's a collective gallery here in Bandon. And we had a group show called Black and White. So I started making this piece for that show. And as you can see, I got most of the way through this piece, and I decided I didn't want to do a black and white piece because I'm a color girl, man. I'm known for my color. I love using color in my work. So I abandoned that piece and I started adding color, and it ended up this color and black and white mix, which I did not put in the show. I just made it. It was fun. So this is a 16 by 20, which is pretty big. Let me see if I can get the scale on that. Da-da! Flip back around. This is my 16 by 20. I was doing it for $150, $100 today. Shipped to your door. Acrylic on canvas. Ready to go. Ta-da! Alright, flipping back around. And we'll talk about some more of what's in that corner. All right. Let me see real quick. All right, let's talk about this corner. So, if you follow me on Facebook, you might have already seen this piece. This is from a trio of paintings I did called the Forward Momentum Florals. And that was quite a while ago. I think that was when I was still living in Vallejo, California, before I moved up here. This is an 18 by 24. So in comparison with that last one, a little bigger than that last boy. It's quite large. This was an acrylic on canvas piece. That's my main jam. And kind of like the mushroom series, it's that gap, bridging that gap between like the super abstract stuff I used to do and the more representational stuff I'm doing now. This one, I posted on my Facebook a few days ago. I was experimenting with this one. I'm doing this one for pay what you want, man. I would love to see it go to somewhere where someone will appreciate it. It's not a piece I bring to my live shows anymore, in-person shows, because it's just so different from what I'm doing now. Yeah, so make me an offer on that one. I think I used to do it for $250 or $2 or something like that, but I'll pretty much accept anything that anybody really excited to get it wants to pay. Here's another one of those older florals. It's from 2022. This is an iteration on one of the echeverias. I love to paint echeverias, the type of succulent that is. So that's a variation on that. And this is another 16 by 20. This one I went ahead and framed. I was experimenting with doing some framing for the gallery when I was part of it. When I go to shows, I don't generally frame when I go to shows because I work on this kind of like thicker canvas that has a nice edge to it, and I always paint my edges, so I don't mess around with framing because framing is such a specific, what's the word? It's so tailored to taste and style, you know? But I was experimenting with doing these kind of what they're called floating frames, so as you can see, this piece sits inside the frame, and then that whole frame sits against the wall really nicely. What did I say on that one? My notes. I'm going by the seat of my pants here, man. I just decided on a whim that I was going to do this. I kind of had an idea at the beginning of the month that I was going to do a live art show, but I didn't really decide that this was going to be the theme of the show until like Tuesday this week. So, oh yeah, okay, cool. So at some point this was $200 or $175 with that frame, $100 with the frame, out the door. Let's go. Got a couple more in the floral department. These are painted on, I believe, masonite board. It's that kind of wood panel, kind of flat panel thing there. This is an iris, and then a very stylized daffodil. They're both stylized. They're both that kind of in-between abstract and representational thing that I was doing for a while. So these I was doing for $80, $40 on those today. They're 8 by 10s, little guys. We'll talk about this one real quick. This is a abstract piece duet I did right before I moved to Bandon. And this is two 12 by 12 canvases that I've like totally attached together, and it creates this funky little diptych. So this funky little diptych, last time I sold it, last time I had it on sale, I think it was about $40 for that diptych. We'll talk about these. This is a piece called Clouds Over Manzanar. This was a 16 by 20 that I did. Oh, this is a much older piece. I thought I had the date on it, and I don't even have the date on it. But I want to say this is like 2011 or 2012. I painted this from a photo I took when I was on a road trip with my mom, and it was near the Manzanar memorial site in California, where the old internment camp used to be. It's a very sad place. If you want to go to a place that feels very heavy and sad, go there. It's an experience for sure. But as we were leaving there, there was this beautiful cloud break over kind of the desert there. And I took some photos, and then I later on painted this from my photos that I took. And, you know, at the time I was pretty pleased with myself on how I handled the clouds and the light. But, you know, I've grown a lot since then. I don't even do a lot of landscape anymore, but there's still kind of this gentle feeling to this piece that I really like. And yeah, she's available. Ta-da. $100 on that one. On that same vein, this one is called Lake Dalwig at dawn. So Lake Dalwig, I'm sure I'm messing up the pronunciation of that. It was this seasonal man-made lake that was right next to where my house was in Vallejo, California. And so it was like a community park. I would go and walk this lake every morning, and it was a big part of like my kind of recreation in the area. But it was really pretty. The way the fog would roll in and the light would hit the water at different times of the year. And so I painted this one and another piece that was a kind of at dusk version of this. The at dusk found a home a long time ago through the gallery, but I still have this one. It's quite large. It is, yeah, let me see if I can do the scale on that. I'll do another flip around. Quite large. It is a 24 by 36, so 2 feet by 3 feet. Very impactful. I was doing this for $3. I'm doing it for $150 today. To your door. Help me make some room in my art shed. On that same tip, speaking of room in the art shed, so this is a piece I did when I first moved to Bandon, or about a year after I moved to Bandon. This is Coquille Point here in Bandon. It's a famous kind of landmark with these rock formations there's all kinds of really cool rock formations that have names. But this is the view as you're kind of at the top of the big stairs in Bandon and looking down at the ocean. Yellow is our local weed called gorse. If you don't know what gorse is, it's this awful, spiky, rosemary-looking bush. It's very waxy, so it burns really hot. It once burned the entire town of Bandon down. It's very invasive, it's very hardy, but it does have these beautiful yellow flowers that pop up once a year. And so I painted those, and this whole landscape was really fun. I love this piece. It's very big though. It takes up a lot of space in my shed. This one is even bigger than the one next to it, as you can see. That one that's 24 by 36. This is, I think, 36. Yeah. 30 by 40. It's pretty big. I was doing this one for $400. I am massively discounting this one though, because unfortunately, being in my art shed, I can't even totally show this right, but being in my art shed, this canvas has, the bars that we're on, warped a little bit. So this doesn't sit perfectly flush against a wall, which drives me crazy. But maybe it won't drive you crazy. Maybe you'll be totally cool with that. Maybe it's not, that part's not a big deal. If that part's not a big deal, you could get a killer deal on this today, because like I said, I love it. I used to ask $400 for it. I've sold similar pieces for $400, but I can't sell this at full price because here you can kind of see, if you look at that line, it doesn't sit flat anymore. So there might be a way to fix that. I just don't know what it is. I've tried leveling it out with just like books and like weight, and there's this whole thing you can do where you wet the canvas bars and then put weight on it, and hopefully that like realigns it or whatever, but I couldn't do it. So I love this piece, but I am willing to let it go for super cheap because of that flaw. I'm sure I'll paint more landscapes at some point, but I'd love the room back that this one is taking up. Originally for $100 today. get it out of here, shipped to your door. Let me know if you want it. All right. On that same tip, I'll talk about these two. These two are the same size, those 30 by 40s. Really big abstracts that I made, I think right before I came to Oregon. They're a lot of fun. I love them, especially this one on the top. It's my kind of pathway to somewhere. Pathway to somewhere. I don't know. I love it. I would love to keep it, but I don't see myself shipping it to Hawaii, and I would love for somebody else to enjoy it. So these two were also I'm doing these for $200 each, or if you want the set, $350 for the set. They are a set. You don't have to buy the set, but if you want both of them, it's a large impact on a wall. They're both 30 by 40, and so $350 if you want the set. I'll get that to you. All right, and then we're going to talk about my little animals, and then I think after I talk about my animals, I'm going to take a break and post some stuff on the Facebooks and see if I can get some more folks to check out what I'm doing today. And then I might try to go live on Instagram and see what that looks like, huh? But I'll talk about these animals real quick. This is a kitty cat that I'm calling Sushi Cat now because it reminds me of this cat I used to have with an ex-boyfriend, this beautiful kitty named Sushi. It actually was originally a commission for a client, but I screwed up. I had done a few pieces for that client, and they were all 16 by 20. And when I started this one, I don't know why I got it in my head that it was going to be a 20 by 20, but I was so wrong. So I got all the way finished with this piece, and I went to invoice my clients, and I was like, oh no, this was supposed to be 16 by 20. So I ended up redoing the piece for her and doing a 16 by 20 version that she loved, and it was great. But I ended up with this kitty, and now this kitty needs a home. So this kitty was $200, $100 today, 20 by 20. Cool dude. We'll talk about Penelope because I keep going over to Penelope. She was a piece of an animal series I did in 2022 when I was first starting to paint more animals. She's also in one of those floating frames that I was talking about earlier. She's great. I love her, but she's ready for a new home. I paint animals very differently now. I would actually even love to repaint her in the current style that I'm painting and see, how much better I can do now than when I used to. So she's $125 today. Same thing with this fellow. Wait, did I say 125? Nah, $100. $100 for her all day. Same thing with this fellow. This guy is called Fluorescent Fox. He was actually an experiment of that same animal series and also an experiment with glow paint. When I made him, his fangs and eyeballs glowed in the dark. I'm not sure if they still do. I haven't checked it for a while, but same thing, $100 for him. This is one I did at a live art painting event. At this festival called the Camp Out here in Oregon. And so I painted him live over the course of 2 days. This one I called Visions and Glimpses. He's, what is he? 24 by 12, I think. Kind of a long skinny piece. Same dealio, $100 today. This one's actually relatively new. This is from last year as well. This was another gallery piece I did. And it was for a show called Opposites Attract. And the idea was to, paint subjects where they were opposites. So I thought the idea of a rooster crowing at the moon was pretty funny. So I painted him. He's a lot of fun. Definitely more reflective of my current style with my use of the paint pens for the detailing and a lot of fine detail. He's a lot of fun, but everything I'm bringing to shows these days is pretty fantasy oriented, so he doesn't quite fit in when I go to shows. So I'm letting him go. He was $225, and I'm doing him for $150 today. Cool. So, to recap, so much art available. There's a live art studio clearance sale. Lots of good prices. Lots of available art for you. I'm going to stop this broadcast for now and do a couple posts, check in, and then I think I'm going to go live on Instagram. So if you're watching, thanks for joining me. If you have any questions, shoot me a message. Happy to be here. All right, bye.